Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with Convery, where we spotlight rising stars, emerging talents, and seasoned professionals driving change in their fields. Today's episode is a special celebration of the exceptional students from the University of Windsor who have earned the prestigious Rising Star Student Awards for Summer 2024 award. Woohoo! All right, so these outstanding students were nominated by their employers for Co-op Internship Rising Star Award, an honor reserved for those who have not only excelled in their roles, but have also gone above and beyond to make impactful contributions to the workplace and their communities. Their hard work, dedication, and their unique achievements have set them apart as ambassadors of the Cooperative Education and Workplace Partnerships Department. Please join me first in congratulating this summer's rising stars. So we have Connor DeMello, Abby DeWurst, Kareem Singh Dhillon, Jovan Jogic, Malik Makiwi, and Jules Wilson. Congratulations to all of you. Now, today we're joined by Abby, Karen Deep, and Jules. So we're going to start with them, get a little bit understanding of who they are, and kickstart this off and have some little bit of fun to understand a little bit about them, a little bit of how they won this award, and have some fun listening to them and understanding their journeys. So first up, I want to ask each of you, I'll start, maybe we could start Karen Deep. Do you go by Karen Deep or Karen?
Both work, so I will prefer Karandeep.
Okay, because I see your name's a little different. I want to make sure. So, can you take 2 minutes to introduce yourself, share your preferred pronouns, and tell us what you like best about your co-op internship experience?
Hi, my name is Karandeep Singh Dhillon, and my pronouns are he and him. I'm currently pursuing a bachelor's degree at University of Windsor with software engineering specialization, where I'm also completing a minor in mathematics. My academic journey has been enriching, especially through the courses like Advanced Object-Oriented System Design, Artificial Intelligence, and Database Management, which has given me a solid technical foundation. Throughout my co-op experience, I have a chance to work at multiple roles, such as a programmer analyst at the Corporation of City of Windsor and as a database engineer at Quadriel Property Group. As a programmer analyst, I have developed web application using technologies such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and which also focusing on data validations using interface design. I was able to leverage tools like JSP, jQuery, and Angular and made my application accessible to the user to meet the AOD foundations. At Quadriel, I have been deepened my skills in database management. I worked on optimizing database performances by analyzing execution plans and fine-tuning SQL queries, which was a challenging but yet a rewarding experience. This role taught me the importance of efficient data management in real-world business applications. What I enjoyed most about my co-op experience was the opportunity to apply my programming skills that I learned throughout my journey at university to the real world projects, like designing a high level web application and enhancing database system to meet specific needs for the business. I also love to collaborate with the talented team of technical experts and learn from those professionals who have been in this field for more than 20 years and get advice from them to how can I grow technically and personally. Other than this, I am an avid cricket fan. I love to
Ah,
play and watch cricket.
okay. And do you play here in Toronto? Cricket?
No, I'm in Windsor and
Windsor.
yeah.
Do you play in
So
Windsor?
yeah, on weekends, me and my friend we usually go to a ground and have a friendly match.
Okay. Love that. I love that. Thanks for sharing. We want to hear all the insights about all three of you. How about Abby? Can you take 2 minutes to introduce yourself, share your pronouns, and tell us what you like best about your co-op and internship experience?
Yeah, for sure. My name is Abby Dewhurst, and I go by she, her. And I am currently pursuing my bachelor's in computer science at the University of Windsor. I'm in my final semester, so fingers crossed everything goes well, and I'll be done with school in December. Um, but yeah, so what I enjoyed most about my co-op experience was really just getting the chance to collaborate with experienced industry professionals. I really did enjoy being a part of a team where, everybody brought different expertise and allowed me to learn not only different technical skills, but also gain insight on best practices and real world problem solving approaches, stuff like that.
Great, great. And sounds like from both of your perspectives, the real world, like hands-on, taking what you've learned in the classroom from a skills perspective and applying it is so important. I think, it's good to hear what you get here, learn in the classroom, but when you can apply it and see and learn that, it's added some good value to your own experiences. I see you
Mhm.
both nodding, so yes. And how about Jules? Jules, can you take 2 minutes, tell us your pronouns and what you like best about co-op or internship?
Hello, so I'm Jules. I go by anything that you'd like to go with.
Okay.
So I got to spend my co-op in Halifax, which was so
Ah,
much fun. I haven't spent
ah,
much time outside of Windsor before, so it's kind of nice to see what the rest of Canada has to offer. So before my co-op started, I was in the Elevate program for the engineering department,
okay.
basically a scholarship program for female, non-binary, Black, or Indigenous students in the engineering faculty, just to balance the playing field a bit. And I got to work with a professor researching the shipping industry when
Wow.
my co gave me a bit of a leg up going into my co-op because I found a job in production engineering for Irving Shipbuilding on the East Coast. And I got to see the actual manufacturing engineering side of things rather than just the analysis that I was used to seeing. So
Wow,
it was
super
exciting,
cool.
nerve-wracking a little bit, but
Yeah.
I applied under the notion that I wouldn't get it anyway and it would just be a fun little one-off thing. But one thing led to another, and I was packing my bags to go. So,
That's a great story. And Halifax is a beautiful place to
oh,
visit, isn't it?
oh yeah,
Especially if you like seafood. I don't know if you're a seafood lover or not. Some
not a
people aren't.
seafood person.
You're not. Okay. But there is good food there for sure.
Oh, for sure.
And the coastline's beautiful. Oh, that sounds like such a really awesome experience. Thanks for sharing. So I've put together a couple questions so each of you can kind of dig into your backgrounds and thinking about the audience here, there's a lot of young people between 15 and 35 that tune into this. A lot of people looking for ideas, direction, maybe even something that you can share about your own personal experience that they can understand and say, "Oh, maybe I can think about that differently." So I want to jump into a few things and I'll do one question per each and then we'll keep going and see how far we get here. Um, Abby, why don't we start with you? As a computer science student and former teacher assistant, what strategies have you found most effective in helping your fellow students grasp difficult technical concepts? And how did your role shape your own understanding of the materials?
Yeah, for sure. So I was a TA for, I believe, 2.5 years. But one thing that I learned best was that doing hands-on exercise with the students, normally in a one-on-one setting, were very effective in helping them grasp some of those difficult technical concepts. I also did learn that, every student learns differently. There's not a
Hmm.
textbook definition of how to teach a student a certain concept. So I did like to base my approach based off of individual needs. So, there were times where students would say, "Hey, I learn better if, we do a similar problem and you kind of show me step by step how to do it." And that's what I would do. So I spent a lot of one-on-one time with the students that I TA'd. Yeah, and then as far as, deepening my own understanding, I like to go by the principle that to truly master a concept, you need to be able to teach it to someone else. So by
Very
working
true.
on these different concepts with the students, I just developed a more comprehensive and deeper understanding of the material myself because I was teaching it to a broad spectrum of students in very different ways.
I love that. And it's such a life skill that you gain through that experience and just listening to you describe it because not everyone understands that people learn differently, right? There's
Mhm.
visual learners, there's different ways people learn. And for you to already have accessed that and understood that and walked people through it, it really comes in handy because so many of us just come from different lived experiences, right? Or the way our mind works is different. So really cool, Abby. Thank you for sharing it. How about next, Karen Deep, you as a student in computer science with experience as a teaching assistant and a research assistant as well, what advice would you give to peers that want to branch out and balance academics with these types of campus roles?
As a student in computer science, like balancing academics with campus roles such as teaching assistant or a research assistant has been both challenging and rewarding. I've been like a teaching assistant for last six semester for different courses. I like started from a TA for a first year course and currently I'm TAing a fourth year course. I feel like first year courses were really challenging as the students were new to new to universities after their high school, so they find it
Mm,
difficult for coding. My advice to peers is like interested in managing these commitments to is to like prioritize organization and time management. Planning ahead and setting like clear boundaries for each role like help me stay on track without feeling overwhelmed with like many tasks. This experience like have enriched my understanding of core computer science concept as a teaching assistant and guiding others to reinforce my own knowledge. Additionally, like a research assistant work has allowed me to deeper into specific areas, such as I'm doing research with Dr. Ashish for developing efficient algorithms for graph design, which has really been interesting, and I'm keen to publish a paper in this December.
wow, that's incredible. And also listening to your story about some of the first years coming to school and having to deal with all the changes and adjusting to school. Sounds like you are quite the coach and mentor as well with that experience, which again is such a great life skill that you're developing and bringing to others. So th thank you for sharing that as a really interesting journey. And Jules, how about you? You know, mechanical engineering student involved in the Windsor Engineering Student Society, University of Windsor. How has it shaped your interest in like green tech and robotics and stuff? I read up on that. I'm really curious to hear.
Sounds good. I find a lot of my interests were shaped in high school just through experiences I had and people I met. So
Okay.
going into mechanical engineering with an environmental specialty I'll be doing in my fourth year was really just a pathway I was already starting to head down in high school and just had to lock into it.
Wow.
In high school, I did something called First Robotics. Something about that program, if you ever meet someone in it, is it locks you in for 4 years and a lot of very passionate people in robotics. I met a mechanical engineering professor through the program, which really just talked me over time into doing mechanical engineering in university. And one of my high school teachers was teaching biology, very stubborn environmentalist, and kind of engraved that into me. So kind of has to meet somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been doing whatever I can to fill out my skill set, joining different
Smart.
clubs, trying to round out both administrative and technical skills so I can come out of the program as well qualified as I can.
It's amazing. And I love that the robotics journey started earlier in high school and things because I always wonder about some of these. I see some of these clubs out there and I'm like, wow, I wish I could have gotten into that when I was a kid. And it's also it uses such a different part of your mind and gets you going in that mindset. So sounds like you had a good experience with that.
Oh, 100%.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So maybe I want to ask a question because obviously, you know, again, congratulations for each winning the Rising Star Award. That's pretty incredible. Maybe we could take a few minutes just to talk about that project and how you were recognized for what you did and share with the audience a little bit about, you know, what was the day in a life like when you were, you know, doing this work, which led you to the award and you know, how did you innovate and think differently and create that opportunity for yourself? Abby, maybe we can start with you and just share a little bit about that experience with the listeners.
Yes, for sure. So, my role, I was a software engineer at Reese, which is primarily we're a research company that we do a multitude of different which contracts or projects and stuff we're working on. So when I was there as a software engineer, I was working on a government project. It's called DARPA. It was for the U.S. government. The company that I was working, they
Very
have
cool.
an American and a Canadian office. So I worked for the Canadian part, but I got to work in partnership a lot with the American side. Um, so the DARPA project itself was centered around healthcare and triaging patients. So they wanted to figure out a solution where if, say, there was people wounded in a war field or something like that, or, some sort of attack where there's lots of debris and people being injured, where we can use drones to assess different patient conditions and then send a ground vehicle. In my case, it was kind of like the Boston Dynamics CyberDog type situation.
Mhm.
So I wrote the code for the drone so it would fly over a certain survey area and find patients that were in the field, and it would try to assess what it could from an air situation. And then based off of that, I sent off a ground vehicle, which was a cyber dog, to the patients that were deemed the most severe. And it would ask basic questions like, are you bleeding? Where is your pain? Can you move your arms and legs, that sort of thing. And it would kind of set up a triage so that medical professionals would know where they need to go first.
Wow. Wow, what
Yeah,
an experience.
it was quite the experience. Yeah.
Holy, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard. And a cyber dog, right? Is that what you
Yep.
said?
A
So
robot dog.
a
Yeah.
robot dog. So the dog would operate as similar like a drone would. It would be robotic, I guess, to go to the.
Yep, yeah. Yep, it was
Huh.
controlled by a controller. It could move over debris, walk through sand, pretty much anything that it would encounter in a normal disaster scenario.
Wow, how impactful and so like it's cool. It sounds like it's a TV show almost. So
Yeah,
cool.
it really kind of gave me insight onto computer science isn't this like blind or narrow field of technology, as I personally never really thought about how technology could be used in the sense of healthcare. So it really kind of just opened my eyes to like, wow, I could do so much more than, you know, programming, data analytics, that type of thing. Like there's some actual real world impact.
Yeah, incredible experience and congratulations. What a really cool thing that to talk about and have in your experience in your tool belt. Like that is so cool.
Yeah,
Jules,
thanks.
how about you? I know you won a winner as well. Like, what was your project and what did you do?
Yeah, so I was working in the production engineering department for Irving Shipbuilding.
Yeah.
Going into the placement, I didn't actually know what production engineering was, and I had to do my own research. So, just starting with a brief explanation, uh, it's a type of engineering that doesn't deal with the actual design of the product itself or its end use case. It's more about the stages in between. So, how does a product get made? How about the people on the line, the tools that you need to get it done, or even just checks to make sure that it's even possible to make the way that it's been described? So, as a first time co op student, there's a recognition that I don't have a lot of technical experience and I've never worked in the field before. So instead of being assigned a specific project, my goal over the summer was more to get involved with as many different projects as possible and talk to as many professional engineers as possible, just so I can learn more about a bit of everything.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was helping out the actual engineers with their work, see what I could even tap or what I can get my hands on. One thing about me is I can't sit still. If I'm not doing something, I feel like I'm going to explode. So I was going to a different desk every day. Like, what can I do? What can I work on? Can I help you with something?
Good. Good. That's super resourceful. That's, hey, those are skills we want, right? Yeah. No, that's amazing too. And again, the exposure and the learning from that beyond the classroom, beyond the book, it's incredible what you've gained there. Congratulations. Really cool. And how about Karen Deep? How about you? How about your project and what you worked on? I believe it was with the City of Windsor, am I
So
correct?
yes. So we were to build a complete new website for City of Windsor, which was having like almost 400 plus pages across different departments of the city. This work was challenging because it was right after the festival season, and many of my colleagues, like I can say, every other was away due to festival seasons, and they were on vacation. So it was really challenging. But as a challenge, it comes an opportunity to prove yourself. So I get ready for that task and I work closely with my manager and he was really happy with the work I have done. and it was great. And I want to give advice to my peers, be proactive in seeking out and learning these opportunities, and don't
Yeah.
hesitate to ask questions or request additional responsibilities if you feel ready. Uh, Practicing clear communication and collaborating with team members also played a big role in my success at it. Ensured that projects stay aligned with user needs and organization goals. So I guess everyone should be get ready for any challenges or tasks to prove yourself in as an exceptional student or exceptional employee.
Amazing. Great work. Amazing. And we could see it right there on the website, all your work that you did. So that's
Yes.
cool. We'll have to check that out. Make sure people check that out. So I want to ask you all a different question. As I mentioned, there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast from all around the world, but a lot of young people who are looking for thoughts around their own success. And we do get quite a bit of high school students as well that pay attention and listen in. I want to think back to a time when you were first stepping foot at the University of Windsor, and how did that feel? Like, what did you go through? The emotions, the ideas of like going to school and stepping away from high school, or maybe, from your home or whatever that looked like for you. Um, how did that feel? And then what did you do at University of Windsor to like start to engage and do different things on campus? Because I really want, as people are considering schools and different paths to their lives, the idea of going to school and going to university is a good choice. And so I'm just curious from your own ex lived experiences, what was that day like, orientation week or frosh week, or what do they say? And how did you manage through that experience and what did you learn? So Karen Deep, why don't we start with you first?
So I started my university journey in 2021. It was peak COVID time, and I was having
Okay.
my first semester back in India. So I didn't receive any warm welcome from University of Windsor. So it was really challenging as I was having zero knowledge about coding or the study formation from the universities in Canada. So my first semester was really challenging, but I engage to my peers through Discord channels and seek help to succeed in my studies. Other than this, I also try to connect in some workshops or join them to some other meetings. When I come to Canada in 2022, in my fourth semester, I really feel I'll have lost many memories on those 3 semesters as on-campus study is really completely different than online study, which I missed a lot.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So you immigrated to Canada then in 2022. Is that the how you got here?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I forgot that and how silly of me. Like each of you have gone through the COVID online experiences, which I want to share with you too. I think as you're telling your stories and your narrative as you progress through your career, you
Even
had to
it
learn.
was really
Yeah,
it
go
was
ahead.
really challenging because there's a time difference between Canada and India. So
Oh yeah.
my classes used to start in late in the evening around 8 p.m. and sometime it may goes to 3 a.m. in the morning. I remember I was having a lab at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Oh my gosh. And that's the thing too, is like as being students of COVID, you've had to navigate, adapt, and also learn different communication skills to communicate with
Yes.
people because you didn't have the one-on-one or the classroom setting in person. But that's something as you tell your narrative, it's something that you should share. That's your adaptability, your ability to navigate that. I mean, all that is something I didn't have to deal with, right? Or other people that didn't go to school during COVID. So thanks for sharing that and sharing insights into your own personal journey. I really appreciate it. Abby, how about you?
Yeah, so my kind of first university experience probably isn't like most. When I was in high school, when I was doing like my high school co-op, I actually co-oped at the University of Windsor,
Oh,
in the IT department. So I was there every single day for about 5 months. So the building that I worked in high school happened to be the building that all my computer science classes were in. So on top of that too, my first year, because I started also September 2020, so I was also, kind of the first year of COVID, so I didn't get to go to campus my very first year. I can't really say it bothered me a ton just because I had that experience being at the university, so I didn't really feel like I was missing out on anything.
It balanced a bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, when I finally did started going on campus, I engaged myself right away into the student life. I was first the secretary for the Computer Science Society, and last year I was the vice president. So when I did get those in-person experiences, I kind of threw myself right at it. I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And any event that I could go to collaborate with students and stuff, I did just because I felt like I missed a lot those first couple of years in COVID.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thank you. Like, see, everyone's journey is different. So that's what I wanted to hear because I think it also adds value to help for others to understand, what to
Mhm.
expect and or experiences they may have had as well. Jules, how about you? How was your journey to school from outside?
For sure. So it would be very generous to say I had any high school experience since COVID started when I was in grade 10 and lasted basically till I was in grade 12. So,
Oh
because
boy.
of that, high school, everything was lenient. Their deadlines did not exist when I was in high school. So, I found starting off university, I had to self-teach a lot of discipline because going from something even more lenient than the average high school experience to the strict, rigid environment that is typically engineering, it was a stark difference. I was very lucky. I went to orientation week run by the Engineering Student Society, and they have a big focus on engineering as a community. So they're very welcoming. They would try to talk to the first years as much as possible. So they helped me adjust to the school climate. One of my mentors was a professor of engineering who's also been an amazing support for me.
Amazing.
So I'm lucky to have had that connection to ease the difference between the two environments. Recently, I've been trying to get as involved as possible on campus. So this year, I'm Vice President Social for the Engineering Student Society.
All
So my
right.
goal is to run the social events to let people mingle and try to support the community side of it. I'm also the president of the Queers chapter, so just trying to run events to make sure anybody that might not feel comfortable with the main group or might get shoved out by other students have somewhere to go.
That's
It's
wonderful.
been pretty rewarding.
That's really wonderful. And what a drastic contrast to this high school to that. And yeah, it's interesting and it's probably interesting for me to ask you this question reflecting back on that because it has been an interesting couple years. And again, I tell you, like when you get to an interview and you can say, "Hey, I was a student of COVID. I used these following skills. I navigated this." I always tell students that because no one else that didn't experience that can say that, and you're of a unique skill set as a result of going through such a traumatic time, but also just a different experience altogether. The last question I want to ask you all is thinking about incoming students and making the most out of their co-op opportunities. If you could tell yourself, because you've gone through it and you continue to, but maybe if you could share with someone who's considering going into a co-op program at a university or college, or what they should maybe think about as far as making the most out of that opportunity. And looking back, what would you share with these individuals about your wonderful experiences you all three have had? So maybe I'll start with Jules. What would you say about making the most of co-op opportunities to incoming students?
For sure. I know when I was starting off, I always used to think that I wouldn't find something good, I wouldn't get anywhere good, and I wouldn't get anything out of it. Because getting to see these amazing skill sets that my peers had, I always had that impression that I'm fundamentally worse because I don't necessarily see the same skills in me. But a lot of that is just perspective.
Mm,
Um, you're not really used to seeing the positive traits in yourself because sometimes you get so dead focused on what needs to improve and what you need to change. You kind of forget that you're in the same program, you've been in the same clubs, and you share the same space. What really are you missing that they have? So I found just joining some clubs, applying to jobs that I didn't even think I was near close
Hmm.
to being qualified enough for, or things that I know the fourth years typically went for. Um, I found that I got not necessarily lucky, but a little lucky. I
It's a
got a lot
skill.
further.
We'll say a skill.
Yeah, I got a lot further than I thought I could get because I just kept trying and I didn't sit it out because of my own preconceived beliefs.
I love that advice and insights because so often we have to own our own career regardless of what's around us, right? And the fact that you took those, we'll call them risks to apply and maybe think differently about, well, I'm going to try it and see what happens. Like, good on you. Like, that's the ones that stick out and get noticed, right? Like, so I think your advice is spot on for the listeners, get engaged, try it, apply to a job. What can they say? No? Okay. Well, you know. And we're our worst own enemies in our heads about imposter syndrome and we're not good enough or we're not ready for this or we can't do that. And that's something that also plays into all of our anyone who says they've never felt that, they're not telling you the truth because we've all felt those situations. I still feel those situations, right? So, it's not something that, but it's because you're challenging yourself to go out of that zone. So that's great. Thank you. Abby, how about you?
Yeah, so I know it's gonna sound a little cliche, but my advice for those exploring different opportunities is honestly just apply, apply, apply. I know co-op in the university beats that into us, but one thing I've kind of learned is that no one's gonna knock on your door and say, "Hey, I have this job for you. Do you want it?" You're only gonna get the jobs that you apply for. And I know, especially in computer science, I don't know a lot about the other degrees and stuff like that, but a lot of people feel like, they have to be a software engineer and they don't want to apply for IT roles or security roles or stuff like that because, that's not where they want to be in life. But those opportunities are usually stepping stones in the process to be where you
Yeah.
want to be. Just like my first co-op, I did IT. My second co-op, I did security, and my most recent one being a software engineer, which is ultimately kind of where I want to be. Those were all kind of stepping stones along the way. And then along with that, the work experience you gain is just it's about everything. So, even if a task might seem really small or not meaningful at a time, it's all just a stepping stone in your journey to where you want to be.
Wow. Wow. That was awesome. Like that insights and wow. Absolutely. And I think that your advice and insights around like looking at different things, they're all building blocks, right? Like you've done multiple building blocks to get where you are.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the biggest lessons to learn from this is it helps you to understand what you'd like to do, maybe what you don't want to do, but it also gives you that work experience to take those opportunities and to look at those. So wow, this is incredible. You all have
Yeah.
some really good insights to share here. Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate it. And Karen
Mhm.
Deep, how about you? What would you say to others that are, considering as incoming students to get into co-op and how should they make the most out of it and what have you learned from that?
When I was just to start my co-op transform, there were like some myths surrounded me. Like the chances of getting a co-op are really less, like you can say 1 out of 1,000. So due to this, I believe some students even don't apply for co-ops and they give before even trying. Even I was at the stage to drop out the co-op, but then co-op coordinator motivated me, and now I have like 3 co-op experience under my belt, which is wonderful.
Good.
And if like once we get into some co-op opportunities, so we should be open to learn with a proactive mindset, as like co-op positions are like incredible chance to apply classroom knowledge to the real world settings. And you should be willing to be step out of from your comfort zone. Don't hesitate to like ask for new challenges and new tasks. And one of the main key aspect of co-op is to build relationship with your supervisor, manager. Take the time to like meet colleagues and other interns to uh, create a relationship between you and others. It may get you land a job in your same company after you get graduated from university. So co-op experience is a wonderful. Be ready for the challenges, and there are high chances to get a co-op.
Again, super advice, and look where it's gone for you, and the experiences you've been able to accomplish and have. You did say something which I found very interesting. People get fearful around the amount of applicants out there, right? Thousands of people applying for different jobs, but I think, you got to stay at it. Otherwise, how will you break through, right? And having that opportunity, and all
Exactly.
three of you now have multiple opportunities. Um, quite frankly, my first job came because I had a co-op, right? They looked and saw I spent time in the business world, and it differentiated me at that time, and that's still the case today. Uh, with your lived experiences, all of your wisdom, and all the things you've all three gained at the University of Windsor and working through these amazing programs. And again, congrats on the awards. That's super cool. Make sure you put that rising star right on that LinkedIn profile. But I want to thank all of you for joining me today. It's been such an amazing opportunity to hear from all three of you, listen to your very unique and different experiences, but also understanding from a student's perspective how you've been navigating this world of work and school and academics. So I thank you so much for being a part of today, and I hope you had a little bit of fun along the way as well.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Prem.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome. So, for our listeners, if you liked what you heard today, please share this podcast on Spotify with your friends. You can follow Coffee with Convery on Instagram for all our episodes. And be sure to check out these students on LinkedIn for potential future opportunities, employers. This has been Coffee with Convery, and until next time, please stay well.